Guys, crossovers. Some of my favorite YouTube videos to watch are those that are doing crossovers of two of my favorite series. It's super interesting to see how the characters of one verse would interact with the systems and world of another and vice versa. And so today I decided it's my time to throw the hat in the ring because I'm going to be combining two of my favorite franchises of all time. So we'll be taking my favorite anime manga in One Piece and combining it with my favorite game franchise ever, Pokemon. Y'all, I love Pokemon ever since I was a kid. And I know you've seen those YouTube videos of giving certain anime characters Pokemon teams. That's what we're gonna be doing today, going through all 10 of the Straw Hats and giving them a team of 6 Pokemon that I believe they would have if they were in the Pokemon universe. But before we get into it, y'all already know what to do. Like the video, okay? That's incredibly important, especially if you want to see me give Pokemon teams to other characters like the Warlords, the Emperors, the Marines. Subscribe to the channel for more anime content just like this, and share it around with all your friends who love the series. You know we always say here, let's get it going. Oh, and make sure you subscribe to me and my boys over at CSY. The project that we're gonna record this weekend is about to be legendary. A really quick caveat is that even though they'll have a team of core 6 members, if more Pokemon fit them, I'll have them as like subs or reserve members that they can switch into. So as always, when thinking about something that involves all 10 of the Straw Hats, we're gonna have to go in chronological order. Now to start us off, we're going to be giving Luffy Ambipom and Infernape, 2 monkey Pokemon that make perfect sense for him. His name is literally Monkey D. Luffy, and Oda has shown us multiple times that his spirit animal is a monkey. But on top of that, both of these picks make sense for his character. Ambipom is generally free-spirited and kind of playful the same way that Luffy is, and I can see it even wearing his hat a lot of the time. Plus, it can interestingly kind of extend its tail hands, kind of similar to the way that a Gum Gum pistol acts. And Infernape is here not only because it's a powerful puncher, but because of its connections to Sun Wukong, the protagonist of Journey to the West, who is the inspiration behind Goku and to some extent also Luffy. We're also gonna give Luffy a Snorlax, which just absolutely makes sense. Snorlax's 2 favorite things are eating and sleeping, and I'm not gonna lie, if that isn't Luffy's 2 favorite things, I don't know what is. There are literal points in the anime where Luffy is made to look like a Snorlax. I think we can also throw on a Lucario for his team. Not only is Lucario an iconic Pokemon that you can just see the protagonist like Luffy having, but it makes perfect sense because it's the Aura Pokemon, and it can kind of sense and use Aura, which is a kind of representation of the way that Luffy just masters Haki. I imagine them even being training partners together. Lucario could be more of a help than Rayleigh was. His 5th member is going to be a Breloom, not only because it's another fighting type, which I think if Luffy was a gym leader, his type would be fighting, but it literally fights like Luffy with extended stretchy limbs. And now for his last Pokemon, y'all, hear me out. I think that his 6th team member should be the mythical Jirachi. Jirachi is the wish Pokemon, the mythical with the ability to literally make anything somebody wishes for into reality. Y'all, tell me that doesn't represent Gear 5. Take a wish about something, a dream about something, and manifest it. That is just literally Jirachi. And I'm not gonna lie, Jirachi drawn with a Gear 5 ribbon may be tough. Some PC members for consideration were Mega Swampert because, I mean, look at him, it's literally just Bound Man, and Seviper to represent Snake Man. But I'm not gonna lie, Luffy's team is actually pretty stacked when you really think about it. Let's see if his first mate can hold a candle to him. Now, as we all know, the thing about Zoro is his swords. So as expected, I give him a bunch of Pokemon that either use swords or bladed weaponry or just are bladed themselves. Zoro's team is going to be Scizor, Aegislash, Samurott, Gallade, Sceptile, and Zacian. Scizor fits because its evolution from Scyther to Scizor can represent his own evolution pre and post time skip. Aegislash is literally a sword, but also a sword with some ghostly aura to it, which a lot of Zoro's swords also kind of have that reputation. For Samurott, he got swords. Gallade is literally a bladed fighter with sword hands, or I guess elbows. Sceptile is perfect because he's literally green, fits into Zoro's motif, with leaves that extend into swords when he uses Leaf Blade. And then finally, Zacian literally holds a sword in its mouth, the same way that Zoro does. In fact, I'm willing to guarantee that Zoro and Zacian are the only 2 anime characters, period, who do this. Both of their names even start with Z, I'm convinced. Some other Pokemon that were in consideration were Tatsugiri, the sushi Pokemon, which makes a lot of sense for Zoro with the way that a lot of his attack names are, and Shaman, who literally has a moss head. Moving on to Nami, and her team is Meowth, Lightbird, Altaria, Castform, Golden Go, and a Rotom that alternates between its regular form, oven form, and wash form. Giving her both a Meowth and a Purloin or Liepard makes a lot of sense. First of all, they're both cats, and Nami's spirit animal is the cat. I mean, she's literally cat burglar Nami and loves money. Meowth is a cat that loves money, and Purloin is literally a cat burglar. The two of them working together is just genius. I can imagine Meowth ordering Liepard to steal for it. Altaria is here because it represents clouds, which forms a big part of Nami's fighting style. We've also given her cast form, which literally changes with the weather, perfect for the fact that she herself manipulates weather. Golden Go is the ultimate money Pokemon, so you know that Nami has to have it. And finally, the reason that I have Rotom alternating between these three forms is because it represents the three characteristics of Nami's Climattact. It's regular electrical attacks, it's more heat-based attacks with the Heat Ball, and it's more cool-based attacks with the Cool Ball. Then some others I considered for a team just for added electricity power were Luxray and Ampharos. Moving on to Usopp's team, he starts off with the Shiftry. We're also giving him a Wimpod that evolves into Golisopod, as well as Carnivine, Victreebel, Tinkaton, and Inteleon. Now Shiftry makes a lot of sense because it's literally a Tengu. Tengus have the ridiculously long nose that Usopp is also known for. Plus it's grass, which as we know, Usopp has a bunch of different plant related things because of his time on the Boyan Archipelago. That's the reason that Carnivine and Victreebel are here, because they represent the different kinds of plants that he got with his pop grains, specifically his Midori Boshi Devil. Tinkaton is here because it's a little thing with a giant hammer, and we know Usopp got experience with giant hammers. Inteleon is here because of its marksman ability, just like Usopp has, especially with its signature move Snipe Shot. But the one I actually like the most on this team is actually Golisopod, and it's because its story is actually remarkably like Usopp's. Starting off as a small kind of wimpiest kid, scared of practically everything and not really wanting to step up a lot of the time, before undergoing a transformation into a new mindset. They are stronger, they are a bit more brave, but even with that said, if things become too overbearing, they then make their emergency exit. I think the whole Wimpod to Golisopod storyline is actually a perfect allegory of the way that Usopp has evolved throughout his time in One Piece. And if Usopp was a Pokemon, his ability would 100% be emergency exit, so it all fits together. Some others that I considered for him were Octillery, obviously because of its sniping, as well as Vileplume because it's a Rafflesia, which is one of the plants that he got. Moving on to Sanji, and I really think I cooked with his team. See what I did there? I gave Sanji Blaziken, Hitmonlee, Cinderace, Corviknight, Alcremie, and either Milotic or Gardevoir, with the difference between Milotic and Gardevoir being, I guess, dependent on whatever Sanji thinks ladies will like more. But because Milotic is said to be one of the most beautiful Pokemon, I assume they'll pick that one. Also because I don't like the moral implications of Sanji having a Gardevoir. His team here makes a lot of sense, revolving around a lot of firepower and Pokemon that are known for kicking. Blaziken is a firefighting kicker, literally Sanji's type. Hitmonlee, of course, based on kicks. Cinderace is a rabbit that literally kicks rocks so hard that they catch on fire. If you're telling me that Sanji as a Pokemon wouldn't have Power Ball, you're tripping. Corviknight is here both for the fact that as a knight, it kind of represents Sanji's more chivalrous side, as well as the fact that as a flying type, it can accompany Sanji as he takes to the air with Skywalk. And of course, we gotta have Alcremie to represent his love for and passion for cooking. For much of the same reasons as basically everybody else, Talonflame was a consideration, as well as Sirfetch'd, who is really here again for that more gentlemanly aspect. Moving on to Chopper, and I've given him a team of Stantler, Ursaring, Audino, Slurpuff, Diggersby, and Beware. Now a lot of his team were given because they represent different transformations that Chopper could take on. Stantler is obviously for his regular reindeer form or his walk point. Ursaring is a bit more comparable to Monster Point, and some could even say Heavy Point. Diggersby for Horn Point, especially with the whole, digging underground. And then definitely Beware is Kung Fu Point. Then Audino is here because it represents his medical ability with him being a doctor and all. Y'all, it works so well. Audino literally work alongside the nurses of the Pokemon world. And finally, Slurpuff is here just because, well, for one, it kind of gives off that goofy vibe that Chopper be giving off sometimes, but more so because it represents his love of sweet things. His title is literally Cotton Candy Lover Chopper, and Slurpuff's pre-evolution Swirlix is literally cotton candy. Some more Pokemon that were in consideration for him were Sawsbuck, because it essentially fills in the same role that Stantler does, but with an added type. But then also Delibird, just because it's a Christmas-based Pokemon, and Chopper, of course, was found on what can essentially be the Christmas island of the One Piece world. But now we have to give a team to the best woman in One Piece, and that's going to be Nico Robin. She's coming in strong with a team of Roserade, Florges, Gardevoir, Machamp, Runerigus, and Mega Absol. Now Roserade and Florges make a lot of sense for her because not only are they feminine, which of course makes sense that she would also kind of have a lot of feminine Pokemon, but they are of course flowers, which ties heavily into her own flower fruit. Gardevoir I think is a really great representation of Robin, an analytical woman with a decent amount of power behind her. People may question Machamp, but I've given it to her because of its ability to have multiple arms. I say that like it's not only 4 arms, but still. Runerigus makes a lot of sense for her because it's literally runes, tying into her interest in archaeology. And then I just had to give her Mega Absol. It just makes so much sense. Absol is literally the disaster Pokemon. They say that whenever you see it, that means a disaster is either just happened or is about to happen. And I'm not gonna lie, what better represents Robin's entire story, that every time she goes somewhere, people find her to be this problem child that they would rather want dead. Plus, in its mega forms, it sprouts wings, the same way that Robin can make wings with her limbs. Nah, this is actually perfect for her. Some more considerations for her were the unknown, which obviously couldn't go on the team because they're not powerful enough, but I imagine that she would make one of her goals to actually capture all versions of unknown, as well as all fossil Pokemon. Both for the same reasons as Runerigus, they tie into her archaeology abilities. Now for Frankie, you just know that we had to give him a super team, and that team consists of G-Max Blastoise, Conkeldurr, Magnezone, Metagross, Pyroar, and Golurk. Now G-Max Blastoise is here because of its whole cannonade shape. It literally unloads a barrage of attacks like cannons onto the foe. And if this doesn't represent Frankie's heavy artillery, I don't know what does. Plus it kind of looks like a battleship, and that just ties in with Frankie's whole battle Frankies. Conkeldurr is here to represent his construction and engineering ability. And also because of that time when he literally wielded 2 giant stone pillars like nunchucks during Thriller Bark. Magnezone and Metagross are here because they're more like robotic Pokemon almost, which of course ties into his whole thing with technology and the future and all that. Then I've also given him a male Pyroar entirely to represent the fact that he is the one who created the Thousand Sunny. People might think that this isn't a big enough deal to give him a whole slot for it, but you gotta remember that Frankie's literal dream is to sail the seas with a ship of his design. And then finally, Golurk makes just so much sense for Frankie. For one, he literally looks like a Golurk. You could just put stars on these and it would literally be Frankie. Plus, we've seen in other material that it can kind of form into a cannon and shoot things out of it the same way that Frankie can. Give it a sword and it can be the General Frankie. Then other Pokemon that were in consideration for Frankie was anything having to do with transport. That would include Pokemon like Rhyhorn, Revavroom, Cyclizar, Driftblim, all tied to his various battle Frankies in the post-time skip and how he can make different vehicles basically. Now with 2 more Straw Hats to go, let's focus on Brook. His team is Frostlass, Glaceon, Alolan Marowak, Kricketune, Toxtricity, and Sirfetch'd. Now Glaceon is here of course for the Ice type to represent the fact that he uses Ice. But Frostlass is an evolution of that idea because it literally fits him so well. An Ice Ghost type feminine Pokemon. What else do you think Brook could possibly want? Alolan Marowak similarly is here not only because it's a ghost type, but also because it's skeletal, just like Brook is. Kricketune and Toxtricity are here representing different sides of Brook's musical ability. In the pre-time skip when he was doing more ballads and kind of composer music, that's Kricketune. Versus in the post-time skip when he's doing a lot more rock and roll after he became the Soul King, Toxtricity would be a perfect partner for that. And then finally Sirfetch'd as just a gentleman with a sword. Some other considerations for Brook were Gengar, kind of the classical ghost, plus it can make his body more ethereal the same way that Brook can project his soul out. Poltegeist, a ghost type that is literally a tea set, which I'm pretty sure at some point it was said that Brook's favorite thing to drink was tea. Then something that I know a lot of people would have put on his team, Wailord, entirely to represent Laboon. And while I understand that, I think that the team I've given him already ties in a lot of the aspects of his character much better than adding a random Wailord one. Maybe we'll give him one when he actually finds Laboon again. That takes us to our last and latest Straw Hat as of this recording, Jinbei. I can see Jinbei rocking a team of Palafin Hero Form, Hariyama, Schooled Wishiwashi, Poliwrath, Sock, and Pangoro. Now if Jinbei was a Pokemon, he would obviously be a water fighting type, so I got as many of that kind of vibe as I could. Palafin has a new signature move called Jet Punch, which is literally just one of Jinbei's Seiken attacks. Hariyama just looks like Jinbei, and he literally does kind of shockwaves with its palms the same way that Jinbei can. The schooled form of Wishiwashi is here to kind of represent the fact that Jinbei talks to like creatures of the sea, and how he summoned those whale sharks to help them out as they were escaping Impel Down. Then as I mentioned, mentioned, Poliwrath is literally a water fighting type. It just makes sense for his team. Sokk is a blue karate master, and then Pangoro is kind of this huge Dawn boss kind of fighting type, kind of representing the way that Jinbei is seen as a veteran in a lot of the Grand Line's eyes. And some of the other considerations for his team were Sharpedo to represent Arlong, Rapid Strike Urshifu, which I would have given to him if Jinbei was shown to be just a little bit faster, and Delmise, the anchor and steering wheel Pokemon, to represent his helmsmanship. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I think that I gave them some pretty perfect teams. Around now is the part where I'll probably be flashing all of their teams once more across the screen so that you can see them in all their splendor. But I want y'all to tell me, what Pokemon would you have put for each of the Straw Hats if you were creating their teams? Anything that I missed? Also, let me know what other One Piece group that I should do this for, because I'm looking to make this a series. And even beyond One Piece, even for just anime characters in general. Let me know all that great stuff and more in the comments below. That is the end of the video, but before we go, like it, subscribe, and share it around with all your friends who love the series, or anime and manga in general. That's gonna be all for me. I'll catch you on the next one, and always remember, One Piece, one life. And also, Pokemon, gotta catch 'em up.